I watched One Battle After Another for the third time this past week, and I'm still kind of struggling to figure out how this movie was classified as a comedy. In fact, I find that assessment almost to be offensive. Now, there are definitely really funny moments in the movie, right? There's definitely moments of absurdity. I made the comment that I didn't know how it was a comedy on a post, and somebody said, well, it's based on a Thomas Pynchon novel. How could it not be a comedy? And it's not really based on Vineland. It's more inspired by it. But I think in watching the movie, people are almost mistaking like Leo's character as like comic, when what it is white fragility. It's a white guy having a nervous system meltdown amidst the backdrop of social stress against revolution. And that he's actually bumbling and stumbling around, literally falling off buildings, right? Getting himself arrested, getting himself tased, and then being helped along by people of color and non-white people every step of the way. And I think we're really misreading this film if we take this to be a comedy. I've watched it now 3 times, and I'm not sure how anybody can say this movie's a comedy, and yet the Golden Globes put it in the musical and comedy place. It's not a musical. Right? If anything, Sinners is more of a musical than One Battle After Another is a comedy. And I think, this kind of Sinners, One Battle After Another comparison is interesting. I also rewatched Sinners recently. And to me, I actually think Sinners is a better cinematic experience. But cinema is defined by what it makes you feel. I mean, the difference between movie and cinema is the difference between what Martin Scorsese described as thrill ride movies and movies that are meant to evoke feelings. And I think the feelings that are evoked within One Battle After Another, at least for white audiences, are probably easier to identify. Whereas you have Sinners, which is a movie that really wasn't made for white people in a lot of ways. To me, it was about cultural appropriation. It was about cultural vampires, right? The juke joint representing black culture and the vampires representing white culture that wants to steal it, right? That wants to repackage it, that wants to be involved in it because they really... I'm not really sure. I mean, one of the interesting things was the music the vampires were making outside of the juke joint, this kind of almost like West Virginia folk music, and why that wouldn't be enough for them, why they needed to kind of possess everything. I mean, there's even a line at the end where the vampire kind of has Preacher Boy in his clutches and says, I want your stories and I want your songs, right? Literally saying the subtext of the movie. And I think, to me, it was a masterful cinematic experience. The color palette, the cinematography, the writing, it was all there. Whereas I still think One Battle After Another is a great movie. But I think it's interpreted in muddled ways, and I think people are really missing the point on it.